welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing our brand new die, Build a Potion Bottle. This die is so much fun and you can even make shakers with it. And we're also going to introduce our Happy Ghost tag, which can be a tag or it can be used on a card front too. So let's go ahead and check them out. Here's our Happy Ghost, and then the little part that turns him into a tag. We also have a backer for the eyes, rosy cheeks, and also a cute little pumpkin bucket that he can hold. Now right now we're just going to flip the ghost over and add a little bit of liquid glue to the back around the eyes and mouth, and then we can add this little backer there, and that's going to add the detail for the ghost. You'll see the die make some embossed lines there right at his arms so that you can fold the arms in. So you could keep the arms out or you can fold them in, which I think is such a cute look. Now you could use that ghost just like that on a card. He is so adorable. But you can also layer him on this tag portion to turn him into the cutest little tag for Halloween treats. So here we're going to add some adhesive to the ghost, and then we can go ahead and layer this portion on the back, and you'll see that it's going to cover up any of the details on the back there that we've added, and also give you this nice little loop so that you can add some twine and add him to a treat bag. Now here you'll see this little half circle piece. That is a piece that you can add to the top of the tag if you want the little circle to be a different color, which I think is a really cute look. You can add it or not. And then here we have this cute little pumpkin, which is going to go over top of the one with the little kind of handle on it, and that's going to turn it into like a cute little treat bucket. And then of course we have these cute little rosy cheeks as well, which I think is absolutely adorable. I always like to add a little bit of detail to ghosts to really help them pop, and a nice light blue-green or blue marker around the bottom edge of both the arms or wings and also the bottom edge of the ghost, I think make it really pop and look so gorgeous. Then we can add some adhesive to the inside of his arms there to help hold them down and also to help hold that cute little treat bucket there. So we'll add some adhesive to the back of that little pumpkin, and it's got that little handle, so it's going to look like he's holding on to it. Look at that. Isn't that so cute? Oh, this just makes me smile. It's just absolutely adorable. Now here we're going to take out some really cute candy corn lawn trimmings. I love it because it has the orange, yellow, and white all twisted together. And then we're just going to put that through the top of the ghost tag and just feed that through. And so that way we're ready to attach on to a treat bag. And look how cute and adorable this guy is. And here is a cute bag by Lynette. I love how she added the little ghost on to our adorable goodie bag die. The other really great thing about this ghost is that he is sized to work with any of our Tiny Tag Sayings stamp sets. And we have a really cute Tiny Tag Sayings fall that's perfect for this guy. And you can see how adorable that looks. You could even stamp a phrase on him and layer him on a card like Karin did, which I think is an adorable way to do it too. Next up, we're going to take a look at the Build a Potion Bottle die set. This die set is so much fun. It comes with that super cute frame and then also a base for the frame so that you can either build a potion bottle or a shaker. Then it also has this cute tag and a little reinforcer you can put on the whole of the tag, and then this cute little die cut ribbon, some stars, a moon, some bubbles, a cork for putting in the top of the potion bottle, or a little magical poof for coming out of the potion bottle, and even a cute little crystal that you can layer together too. Now it comes with this wavy die right here, and this is what you can use to die cut it to make it look like the potion bottle is kind of half filled, which I think is a super cool look. And this is what it looks like when you start to layer the potion bottle together. So we're going to add some adhesive behind the piece that we die cut with that wavy line so that it looks like there's kind of this half-filled magical green potion in there. And we use some shimmer cardstock to make it feel extra magical. And then we're going to layer that frame on top of the potion bottle just like this. And this is how you create a potion bottle that's just a standard potion bottle. If you want to create a shaker, you would stack those. And I'll show you that in just a little bit. Now you can add the cork to the top of the bottle or not, which I think is such a cute look. And then there you can see that little reinforcer tab that you can add onto the tag, which makes it look really cute and gives it a fun pop of color too. I absolutely love this little like gem or crystal, and so you can layer the frame over top of the base, and I like to do them tone on tone like this. I think it looks really nice. And these are all fun little things that you can either put in your potion bottle or around your potion bottle. You can layer them into the potion bottle and just have them flat like we're doing here, or you could also use them as shaker bits too. I love this cute little fake string that it comes with. Like, I love that it's a little die cut string that looks like it's been tied around the bottle, which is such a cute look. And then here you can see how you can add that little tag right on to that die cut string so that it looks like there's a little tag that says something. And the tiny phrases in our stamp set are a perfect match for that little tag. You can add these cute little stars into the potion bottle. You can also add that fun poof coming out of the potion bottle so it looks like potion surprise or magic is coming out of the bottle, which I think is really cute. And then these little bubbles I think are awesome, and they also look really fun coming out of the potion bottle as well. Now, I absolutely love this potion bottle for Halloween. I think Halloween cards turn out so cute, like Callie's here, or I love how Jennifer took it into a fun little shaker theme with that fun ghost as well. But you can also do a message in a bottle idea like Elise did. And then I love how Audrey did the message in a bottle in the ocean, which is so fun. And then Grace turned it into a love potion. So there are so many fun ways to use this die. And right now, we are going to create a Halloween card with it. So we're actually going to add in all these fun little gems and the little moon and the bubbles into the jar. And there's something so fun about building your potion, picking your colors, picking the things that you're going to put inside. I just have such a blast with it. And so now we're going to use some new sparkle cardstock. This is our amethyst color, and we've die cut that with the giant Hocus Pocus die. And we also die cut it out of some white cardstock too. And we're going to take the glitter one and we're just going to shift it to the right just a little bit, which is going to give it this cool white shadow behind it that's really going to help it pop on the card. Then for the card, we're going to be using some of the new Stripes and Sprinkles paper. This is the Stripes and Sprinkles Autumn in the 12 by 12 size. And we're going to layer some of the gray papers here. I love the gray stripe and then also the gray dots. The dots almost make me feel like it's the bubbles in the potion, which I think is really fun. And then this nice neutral kind of charcoal gray is going to look so nice with our potion bottle and the giant Hocus Pocus too. So here we've just trimmed a piece of Storm Cloud cardstock to be like a little ground. And then we're going to layer the Hocus Pocus up here in the corner, and then we're going to add that cute little potion bottle there at the bottom, which I think looks so adorable. And then we're going to bring in one of my favorite new stamp sets, which is the Hocus Pocus stamp set, which is such a great match for this potion bottle because there's all these cute cats with all these fun potion kind of themed things. And so we're going to be using this cute little cat and also a broom that comes from the Hocus Pocus add-on. And I just think this is so adorable and such a fun match to this big giant die cut bottle. I just think they look so cute together. So we're going to add some foam squares behind that and then just layer that there. And all we need is the standard size card base. It's 5.5 by 4.25. And then we can layer this whole panel on top. And now this card is all done and it is so super cute. And I wanted to show you another version that we made with some of the other cute cats from Hocus Pocus. I had stamped and colored a bunch of different ones. And so it was just fun to make a bunch of cards in a similar way, but using different bits and pieces from the Hocus Pocus stamp set. And both of these have turned out so much fun. So now that we've made a standard potion bottle, we are going to make a shaker potion bottle. And I'm going to start off by doing some inking because this potion bottle to me just calls for inking. You can make it fun and inky and splashy and it's going to look so cool. So we're going to die cut the base of the potion bottle and I'm going to be using some different shades of blue here. So some Mermaid Lagoon and Prize Ribbon Distress Oxide inks, but you could use the lawnfawn inks too. Any kind of inks that you have in your stash are going to look so cool. I'm just going to pick a dark blue and a light blue for my potion and then I'm just going to build up the colors so that I have this nice gradient on the whole base part of my potion bottle. Then I'm going to take my spray bottle and I'm going to spray big amounts of water on this, like big drops, lots of water. I'll let it react with the ink and then I pick up the excess water with my paper towel and you can see as it reacts with the ink, do you see those like kind of bubbles start to form? That's what I think looks so cool on these potion bottles. You can see I'm just putting like huge amounts of water on there and it looks so cool. And so I'm going to set that aside to dry, and as I do that, I'm going to work on the shaker part. And so I'm going to use the frame and I'm going to die cut a bunch of these out of cardstock. So I think I had like 8 of them, maybe even 9. You probably only need like 6 or 7, but I like having it a little bit taller so that my shaker pieces can really move in there. And so to do that, I like to do 8 or 9. And so I'm just adding some liquid glue on the frame and then just stacking the next one of these on there. And this is going to give us some height for our shaker. You could of course use foam strips or something like that too, but I really like doing this stack. I think it looks nice and clean and it's just really easy to do, and I find it relaxing for some reason to stack all these little pieces. So you'll see I add liquid glue and then I stack one on top and then I just kind of use my finger fingers to move it around and make sure they're all perfectly stacked together. And then here you're going to see as we stack the last one, all the awesome height that we've gotten in this piece, which I think looks so, so cool. Now, at this point is when I realized what I did. I used white cardstock, but I'm going to be using this really cool new sapphire sparkle cardstock for the frame, and the white wasn't going to look that good on the inside of it, so that's okay. I just took out a marker that was like the closest in color to that blue sparkle cardstock, and I'm just going to ink all around it. I could have gone and die cut a bunch of blue cardstock instead, but I'm stubborn, and I had this one all done, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to color it with my marker, and sometimes we just make do, right? So this actually ended up working out pretty well. So if this ever happens to you, just color it on the inside and the outside with your marker, and it's going to look pretty awesome. Right here is my secret for any kind of shaker, and I'm going to be using my anti-static powder tool, which essentially just has like a little bit of baby powder in it or cornstarch, anything like that, that's going to help remove any of the excess stickiness that might be on the inside of our jar from using liquid glue. I'm not always perfect with my glue, a little bit might seep out, and if you do this, the powder is going to remove any of that extra stickiness, and all of your little bits and pieces are going to move really, really well. The other thing that you want to make sure is that the base piece is also really dry too. So mine was nice and dry and ready to start making a shaker with it. So I'm going to add some liquid glue on the back of this piece, and then I'm going to layer that on to my whole jar here. And doesn't that look so pretty? And then here I have new shiny treasures. This is what I was so excited about. So we have new iridescent stars, we have purple stars, and we have these Halloween moon and star clay pieces. And I just couldn't wait to put these in one of these little awesome potion jars. So I'm going to add my stars, my little stars, my iridescent ones. I'm going to add some purple stars, and then I'm going to add some of these little clay pieces. There's like moons and stars and like little sprinkles and things, and I think they just look so magical. I just love playing with these here. Then we're going to add liquid glue all around the frame of the jar, and then I've die cut the base of the jar again, but this time out of acetate, and we're going to layer that acetate piece on top, and this is what is going to create our shaker so that we can see through it, but all of the pieces are going to be able to move inside. Then once we add the acetate piece, we need to add the frame on. So we're going to bring back that frame that we die cut from that brand new sapphire sparkle cardstock that's so pretty. Again, I'm going to add liquid glue to the back, and then we're going to layer that on, and that's going to give it that really nice finished look and add that extra sparkle all around, which I think is just so, so pretty. Then I'm going to take an acrylic block here, a big one that's kind of heavy, and put it on top so that everything can dry and be nice and solid. And I let that dry for a little bit, and then of course I had to play with it. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty? You can see the sparkle of all the little iridescent stars inside, and then the clay pieces feel so magical. I love the moons. I just think this is just so much fun. These little tiny potion bottles are just such a blast to make. So now that I have one shaker, I wanted to fill my whole card with potion bottles. And so I'm going to create two other potion bottles that are not shakers to kind of like be in the background. And so I decided to use some purple for this one because in the Distress Oxide there is an ink called Villainous Potion. And I was like, well, it's in the title. It says potion. I got to use it, right? So I'm going to use Wilted Violet and then bring in the Villainous Potion there at the bottom. And then just like we did with the blues, I'm just going to build up the darker color at the bottom and the lighter color at the top. And then once I have those colors built up to something that I think looks nice, we're going to do the same thing again with our spray bottle, and we're going to spray and then pick up the excess with our paper towel, and that water is going to react with the ink and make it look potiony and so, so cool. Next, I'm going to work on some little bits and pieces that I want to go in this jar. And so I'm going to be using this fun little ribbon string here. And so I'm just going to color that in with my purple marker. And then I'm going to use some of the die cut elements in the potion jar that kind of go along with the elements that are in the shaker. So there's that really cute moon, which matches the shaker. And so I'm going to add some color onto that with my markers. And then there's those little sparkles that kind of make me think of that other jar with all the little sparkly things in it. And I'm going to use blue on this one so that it matches our blue shaker jar. These are the cork toppers, and so I'm just going to use some brown markers to add some color to them. I think these would be really cute cut out of woodgrain cardstock or woodgrain pattern paper too. And then here's that little tag, and it was kind of bright white and everything else is kind of inky. So I decided to take some light gray ink and just ink it just a little bit so that it just feels like a little vintage or a little old to go along with our inky potion bottles. Now, next up, Tammy did this and I thought it was such a cool idea. So we have this honey and jam add-on for our mason jar, and it has these cute little labels in it, and the labels look pretty awesome on the potion bottle too. So we're going to go ahead and die cut each of these two kinds of labels, and then I'm going to take that gray ink and just go on them as well. Again, just to give it this like inky, vintage, dirty apothecary vibe that we have going on with our potion bottles. Now we can start to put our jar together, and we need a frame, and I'm going to use the new Amethyst Sparkle cardstock. Isn't that so pretty? So we're going to die cut that as the frame, and then we're going to layer some of the things in this cute little label that comes from that honey and jam add-on for the mason jar. I just love how we can mix and match all these different things. Of course, if you didn't have that, you could use a little die cut circle or something as the label, or even a strip of cardstock would be a really cute label on these potion bottles. So here I've added the cute little moon and stars to the label, and then we're going to add some adhesive to that and then layer that into the jar. And I just think that looks so cool with all of the splatters on the inking and everything. It just feels so fun and spooky and potion-y. Now next, we're going to take that little wooden topper there, and there's actually a line that's cut, a little cut line at the top of the jar, so you can actually tuck the cork into the jar like as if it was a real cork, which I think looks so cute. And then we're just going to add some glue to the back of the frame and then layer that onto the jar. And doesn't that look so fun? Now, next we're going to work on that little label here. And what's really fun about that label is the tiny little phrases that are included in many of our stamp sets fit on that label. And there's one here that says, "You are magical," in the Hocus Pocus stamp set, which I think works so well with this potion bottle. So we're going to stamp that on there. And then here, instead of having the whole bow, I'm going to put the whole bow on my other jar. I just wanted the kind of like ribbon part, so I just cut the bow part off. And then what we're going to do is just feed that ribbon through the hole in the tag, and then we're just going to layer that on top of the jar. And then we can just wrap the kind of end that's left over of that kind of fake die cut ribbon right around the jar, and it's going to look like it was just tied on there, which I think is such a fun and cute look. And now we have another one of our potion bottles all done. Now next up, we're going to work on our green potion bottle, and I'm using Twisted Citron and Mowed Lawn for this, which I think are just a fun combo, and I love the idea of this green potion. I think it looks so fun. And just like before, we're going to spray it with some water and use our paper towel to pick up any of the excess to get that fun bubbly potion look. And then just like we did with the purple one and also the blue one, I've picked out markers that are similar colors to the inks that I used, and I'm just going to color in all these different things. So we have that fun little bow that goes around, we have the bubbles too, and then also that fun crystal gem. I love this little gem. I think it's just so cute. I think it would be fun to like do a little custom sentence that said like, "You're such a gem," and have these on there. I think that would be a fun card. Now here we have our emerald sparkle cardstock, which is so pretty. We're going to die cut the frame for that again, and then we're going to be adding the cork to the top of that, and then we're going to be using the labels again from the honey jar, and this one we're going to be using that longer one, and you'll see it's going to be a little bit too long, but we're just going to cut off any of the extra. So we're going to add some tape render to that and then layer that onto the jar, and again, like a strip of rectangle cardstock I think would look really cute here too. So we're just going to add that on there, and then once I've got that in nice placement, I can just take my scissors and trim off any of the excess. Then we'll add some liquid glue to the back of the frame, and then we can layer that on. There's something about once you add the sparkle on it that I think just feels so fun and magical. We'll layer the frame of the gem onto the base of the gem, and then I'm going to add the gem to the label, and then we'll add some little bubbles. And I'm going to tuck one underneath that label just so that it feels like bubbles are bubbling up from the bottom. And then we can add this cute little string on there. There's something about a die cut ribbon that I just can't. They're just so cute. And now we have this cute potion jar, which is so gorgeous. And then here it is in comparison to the purple one. Aren't those so much fun? Oh, I just love it. So now the next thing we need to do is work on a fun little like shelf for these cute potions. And so here we're going to take out the Stripes and Sprinkles autumn paper, and there's this really great gray and then gray stripe and the gray dot. And so we're going to take out both of those papers, and for the dot we are going to be die cutting that with the largest of the outside in stitch rectangles. And then I trimmed down the stripe to be 5.5 by 4.25 inches, and we're just going to layer these two together. And then for the shelf that our potions are going to be on, I'm actually taking out some of the wood grain cardstock. I die cut it with that same outside in stitch rectangle so it would have that stitched area. And I'm just going to trim that down. I think it was about like an inch and 3/4 or so, but anything would look really nice. And then I'm just going to add some adhesive to the back of that and then layer that. And now we've created a shelf and kind of like a wallpaper in the background that we can layer things on. Now, I wanted there to be like a magical poof coming out of the potion. So I went ahead and die cut that from some pixie dust sparkle cardstock, which is our white sparkle cardstock. And I actually want to layer something behind the poof as well. So I'm just scribbling with my blue markers onto this white cardstock, and you'll see how I'm going to layer this poof on in just a second. But then I also wanted to add some color to the poof too. And I love this pixie dust sparkle cardstock because you can actually color over it with your markers, and it looks really, really pretty. So I'm using the same exact blue markers as I used before, and I'm just adding some color to the poof. And then we're going to add some tape runner to that and then layer that. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this part, but I wanted there to be like it to look really blue since it's going to be coming out of the blue potion. I think it looks kind of neat. And so then I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to trim around the edges of the sparkle so that we've added color to behind the sparkle piece too. And now we get to put the potion bottles on the shelf. So I'm going to build from the outsides in. So I'm going to put the non-shaker bottles on the outsides, and then I'm going to put the shaker one in the middle, kind of overlapping the two. And then I'm going to make sure to put it far enough down so that I can fit the poof. So I'm tucking part of the poof kind of behind it so that it looks like there's like magic potion coming out with the shaker bits. I think that's a really fun look. And then I put it on a standard size card base. It's 5.5 by 4.25. And now look at all of the sparkle. And then when those shaker pieces move around, oh my gosh, it just makes me smile. It's so fun. Now, at this point, I had some extra cats that I had colored from the Hocus Pocus stamp set, and I had brought it out to stamp the You Are Magical, and I couldn't help myself. I had to add my cute little calico cat here to my card, and look how fun this is. I think it's adorable with the Hocus Pocus cat, too, and I could just play with these little shaker bits all day. I just think they're so fun, and there's just such a joy in making these little potion bottles. And then here I wanted to show you a version of the card without the cat and with the cat, and both of them I think turned out so cute. Now we have some new Hocus Pocus washi tape that I thought was going to be a perfect match for this card. So I like to add washi tape on my envelopes, but I also like to add it on the inside of the card because so many cards, it's just blank on the inside, right? We're just going to write our message. And I think it's cute to add a little design, and washi tape is a perfect way to do that. And this is such the perfect washi tape for this card because it's a little shelf with books and potion bottles and adorable little things on it and the little gems and everything. So I just think it looks so fun on the inside of this card. We have our cute little shakers, and then as you open up the card, you get the fun little surprise of that cute washi tape on the inside too. And so next up, Shari is going to create a super cute card featuring our happy ghosts. So take it away, Shari.
So I have cut the little happy ghost tag. I've cut the little pumpkin bucket, and I'm also using the bow, but that bow is from the Big Hugs ghost die. So I wanted a big bow on top of my ghost head. So here are the little pieces too I'm pulling in here. There's some little pink cheeks to add as well. There is a black solid piece there. I'm going to layer that on the back side of my ghost face to fill in the eyes and the mouth. And I did cut my ghost tag from some pixie dust sparkle cardstock, so it has a really fun glitter effect. I'm adding the little cheeks that come in the tag. And then for the bow, there is the little piece in the center as well. I actually ended up putting something else in the center of this once I finished the card, but for now we're going to put that there, and I'm also going to assemble the little pumpkin bucket. So to add my oversized bow to the top of my ghost head, I'm just using liquid glue since I'm gluing this to sparkle cardstock. Now I wanted her to hold something, so I found this little banner in the Fangtastic Friends add-on stamp set. I've stamped that out, and I'm just going to color it in two colors with my Olo markers. So I'm using a teal and a peachy pink color. I thought this was a fun color combo for Halloween, something a little more non-traditional, but I love how it turned out. Once I have these colored, I will use the coordinating die to cut out this little banner. It happens to be the perfect length to fit between the two arms of the Happy Ghost tag. Now the Happy Ghost die makes some score lines so that you can fold the arms in so that your little ghost can hold things. I'm just going to use this as a way to kind of give some dimension to my card. For the background, I'm using the dotted moon and stars backdrop in landscape, and I've cut this from some peach cardstock. Then I'm going to go in with some apricot ink and just darken up the edges just slightly. I like that the ink can kind of catch in those stitching and dotted details of this background and kind of frame up my little ghost in the center. I'm also cutting down a piece of mermaid cardstock to 5.5 by 4.25 so that it fits behind this backdrop, and we will see that mermaid cardstock showing through those die cut openings of the stars and the moons. So I will just add some liquid glue around all four sides and kind of in between my little cutouts, and I can go ahead and glue that mermaid cardstock onto the back of this panel. Then I can put this whole panel onto a landscape card base, and I will be ready to add my cute little ghost. So here's my little ghost. I'm adding foam squares all over the center part of my ghost. So you can see I have not put anything on the arms yet. I'm centering this up and I like that she's kind of tilted to one side. Then for the arms, because I want them to pop up even more, I'm going to add 2 foam squares. So I am stacking 2 foam squares. So this is double the height. And then I'll stick that down and it looks like her arms are kind of out towards you off the background a bit more than the body of the ghost. Now I'm ready to add the fun things to her hands. So I'm adding 2 foam squares to the back of the little pumpkin bucket as well so that it is at the same height as the arm. And I'll also add a dot of glue right there to the end just to kind of hold the handle of the bucket. Now for the banner, I'm adding some foam squares so it's popped up a little bit. And then to attach both ends, I'm actually going to use a glue dot, especially since I'm sticking down to that sparkle cardstock, which has some texture to it. So I want to make sure everything's stuck down really well. So I have a glue dot at both ends and some half foam squares behind those pink pennants of the banner. And look at how cute that is. I just think it's so adorable. Now for my sentiment, I cut out a bunch of letters from Henry's ABCs that spell out boo. So we have 2 O's down here for boo, but that continues on up here with some more O's and of course an exclamation point. So I'm placing them where I want them to be, make sure I like where that is, and then I'm just going to go through and pick up each letter and then glue each one down with a little bit of liquid glue. I just think this is really fun with that long boo sentiment on both sides of the ghost. Then to finish off the sentiment, I pulled out Henry's Build a Sentiment. This is the tools set, but I really just need the words to you. So it says boo to you. And I'm just lining those up on a block. And I am going to stamp those in black ink on a little bit of peacock cardstock here and trim this down to a little rectangle. Then I will add this right below the little pumpkin bucket there, just kind of tucked in underneath my ghost. And then finally, I have a bunch of stars using the Hearts and Stars skinny tag die. This is cut from that same black sparkle cardstock as the letters. And this is going to give me some fun embellishments, just filling in some of that empty space. So you can see I put one on the center of the bow, which I just think is so cute. And then I'm figuring out where I want my other stars to be. And once I have those placed, I just pick them up with my pick up pokey tool, add a dot of glue, and drop them back into place. I love this little one on the pumpkin bucket here, and especially love that one on the bow. So for a little more sparkle, as if we didn't have enough going on, I added some to the banner and the pumpkin bucket, and just a little bit to the top of the bow. And then here is my finished card using that happy ghost tag on a card instead of as a tag. I love how this card turned out so much. I just think it's so much fun. So for this card, I'm using the new Build a Potion bottle, and I'm going to pair that with the book collection die. So you can see I've already cut out a whole bunch of my die cuts here. But the first thing I'm going to do is start on my background. And I'm using a piece of narwhal cardstock and the wood grain stencil. I'm also going to use some gray ink to get some tone on tone stenciling on this background. So I have my narwhal ink, and I'm just going to carefully put that ink through the stencil. I'm not really worried if it's nice and even. You can see my first couple strokes were kind of dark. I want this to look like a wood background for our books and our potion to look like they're sitting on a shelf somewhere. So I've gone all over with that ink. I'll pull up that stencil. And the next thing I'm going to do is use the horizontal stripes. And I'm going to cut this out so I have some little boards of wood grain. So I'll just line this up and run this through my die cut machine, and now I have all these slats. But I want them to look a little less perfect, so I'm taking whatever ink is left on my brush and I'm just adding some dark spots along the edges. So I'll have some dark places that are between my panels here, and it won't look quite so perfect. And of course, I'm keeping them in order that I cut them so that that wood grain stencil is continuous across the whole background. Now I can add some adhesive all over a card base, and I will just attach each of these panels to that card base starting at the top. So once I get that first one on there, I can just butt the next one up against the bottom of it and put these all back in the order in which they were cut. And you can kind of see how we have that different variation in color where I added the extra ink between the panels. So we're going to set this aside and work on our books. Now, most of them I've already cut out of colored cardstock, but there was a color that I wanted that I did not really have. So I made my own colored paper with some Distress Oxide ink. And I'm just going to take this Seedless Preserves Distress Oxide and ink up this entire little piece of paper so that I can cut some books and have this pretty purpley color to go with the other colors in my color scheme. So once I have this fully saturated with that color, I'm just going to take the two remaining books that I haven't cut yet and cut them out of this purple. So here are all my pieces to my books. Those two little ones on the right up there, they don't need any assembly, but the other ones need to be layered together. So I'm layering this purple one over a piece of forest teal so that it shows through those two little openings. And as I work my way through this stack of books, I'm just going to lay a block on it each time just to kind of hold them down and make sure they dry nice and flat. So I've got some number 2 pencil for my yellow. I'm also using some sunset orange and some cantaloupe. And I also have some peacock to round out this color palette, so you can see that peacock peeking through that book right there. For the two books that are on their side where you can see the pages, I cut the pages from speckled eggshell, so it's kind of an off-white with those little flecks in the paper, and I'm just adding the colored part around it. I will also, at the very end, add a little bit of marker detail to the pages of the book to add some shadows, but you'll see me do that later in the video. So now all my books are glued together and I'm ready to assemble my potion bottle. So for the back of the potion bottle, this kind of white piece here, it's actually pearlescent cardstock. And then for the liquid inside, I have some number 2 pencil and I need to cut the top of it with the little die that comes in the set so that it looks like there's liquid in the bottle. Then I can just layer that over the back piece of the bottle, and then I can layer the outside outline of the bottle on top. And I use peacock cardstock for the bottle itself. Then of course we have this cork, and I cut that from paper bag cardstock, and I'm just going to add some little dots with a darker brown marker to make it look a little more like cork. And it easily fits right in that slit at the top of the bottle. And I'll just add that with a little liquid glue and use my tweezers to hold it down while that glue dries. Now there is a tiny little tag in the potion bottle set and the little reinforcing ring. I cut the tag from peach cardstock and the reinforcing ring from some purple sparkle cardstock. And I will be stamping a little sentiment on this little tag. There is also a little crystal in this die set. So for the solid piece, I use that purple sparkle cardstock again. And then for the outline of the crystal, I just use black cardstock. So I will put some dots of liquid glue on the back since I'm gluing this to sparkle cardstock and let that glue dry under a block. Now for the little sentiment on the tag, it is very small, but these little sentiments in the Hocus Pocus set fit on there perfect. So this one says, "You are magical." And that's going to go on our little potion bottle. There's also this really fun die in this set that makes this like poof of sparkle and magic. I cut this from some sparkle cardstock as well. This is the lemon yellow, and I just think this is really fun with the two yellows layered together. It's like that magic has been bottled up. And then there is also a little string so we can tie on our little tag. I'm just going to hold these together with my tweezers the way I want them and add some glue to the back. And now our little tag looks like it's tied around the top of our bottle. Now for the larger sentiment on this card, I'm using a combination of Henry's Build a Sentiment. This is actually the butterfly set. I only want the have a and day words, so you could probably find those in any set. And then I'm also using the Henry's Junior's ABCs. And I wanted to spell out the word magical. And I just like the difference in font size, but I like that the fonts match. So I like that we can mix and match our Henry's Build a Sentiment sets with the Henry's Junior's ABCs. So I'm spelling out the word magical, and you just want to butt those letters right against each other. They are on rectangular bases. You can do this on a block or like I did and just pick it up with a block. I will be heat embossing these with white on forest teal cardstock. So this will match the dark color in the books that I put together earlier. So I'm starting with the word magical. I'm making some word fetty little banners for this one. So I'm going to heat that up with my heat tool and melt that white embossing powder till I get that nice bright white sentiment on there. Then I'm going to cut this off into a little rectangle. And then I'll use the part that's left over to stamp out the words have a and day. So the word magical is going to go in between. So I'm spacing these out a little bit so they're not right up against each other so that I can cut them apart easily. And I've treated this with my anti-static powder tool just like I did before, stamping in clear embossing ink and adding that white embossing powder, then heating it up till it's melted and we get that bright white sentiment. And I'm just going to cut these apart with my scissors as well. So just cutting these down into little rectangular pieces with each of these words. Then we can add back in the word magical, and that is going to be our sentiment. So I'm ready to start to assemble my card, and I'm using some foam strips for the books. I'm going to pop everything up on this card so we have some dimension off the background. And of course, I'm starting at the bottom so I can build a base and start to stack up my books. So I am going to be creating kind of a stack of books over here on the right, and this is where my potion bottle is going to sit. It's going to sit right there on top of that little book at the top. And again, I am adding foam squares to everything. And especially being sure to support that little tag there too. It's going to kind of hang off the edge. Then I have this little crystal, and that's going to tuck right in here between the bottle and the books I'm about to add. So I have my other 4 books over here, and I will just put some foam strips on the back of all of those so they are ready to go and to add to my card. And I'm starting with this one here. Someone was really bad putting the books back. I don't think you should ever put one in this direction, but I thought it was kind of fun to add that book with the pages that way. And then we have our other books all leaning towards the bottle and the crystal over there. And then finally, we're going to add our sentiment. And I just trimmed that down a little bit more. I thought it had a little too much border around it. And we're just adding that directly to the background. So I'm starting with my big word in the middle, and then I can add my other words above and below it. And I like that they're kind of pulled in a little bit. They're not justified to the left and the right exactly in the same place as the word magical. Then the Build a Potion die set also has these little sparkles. There's some big sparkles and some little sparkles, and there's also a moon. So I have cut those from purple sparkle cardstock and from gold sparkle cardstock. So I added the purple ones inside the bottle. I thought they stood out really well against that lemon yellow sparkle magical poof that's inside the bottle. And then I'm using the gold ones as my accents around the card. So I have a few up at the top, a few at the bottom, and then I'm going to put that moon kind of curving around the part of the sentiment that says day. And then I'm also adding some iridescent sequins because to me these look like bubbles. So I'm adding some inside of the bottle. I'm also going to add a bunch sprinkled outside, and I actually had a lot of fun with these because I'm kind of tucking them as if bubbles kind of landed on the books and behind the bottles, and some of them are going to be floating up in the air around the sentiment. I had a lot of fun adding these sequins to this card for my final embellishments. And then, of course, we need some stickles. So I'm just adding a little bit to the cork and then a few accents to all the books. And I'm kind of using the lines on the books as my guide where to put my stickles. And then the very last thing I did was add a little bit of very, very subtle shadow to the book pages with a marker. And then this card is all finished. I love that new potion bottle. It's so fun, and I love adding these books with it in all those really fun colors. It's such a magical card.
Oh my goodness, Shari, this card is so cute, and I love how you paired it with the book collection books. They are a perfect match together. And then I love how you added the Happy Ghost tag onto a card. It's just adorable. And next up, we have some incredible cards by the design team. And this one here by Jennifer is so cute. I love how she made it a fun shaker bottle and how she has our Happy Ghost tag ghost holding onto the potion bottle. Isn't that so sweet? I think it's just absolutely adorable. This card by Callie is so gorgeous, and I love the colors that she used and how she layered all of the gems and moon into her jar. And then this card by Mindy is so cute. She added our Happy Ghost tag onto her card in such a fun and adorable way. And then Audrey blew me away with this whole message in a bottle theme. It is such a fun way to use this potion bottle. Then here Tammy used our brand new Build a Cat dies with the potion bottle to create a perfect Halloween card. This card here by Karin is so cute, and I love how she stamped the little sentiment inside the ghost. It's just adorable with him holding onto the little bucket. And then this card by Elise is so much fun. I love the idea of it being just a note with the message in a bottle. So creative. And then, oh my goodness, Grace turned this into a perfume bottle with this card was sent with love theme is so sweet. I love the little sequins and hearts in the shaker and then the skunk with it too. It's just so fun. And then this fun card and tags by June are adorable. I love the colors that she used and how it feels like this fun woodsy magical potion. And then the cute little tags are such a great match. And then I love how Lynette added our cute ghost tag to a little die cut goodie bag. I think this is so fun for Halloween treats. And then I am so in love with the colors that Melissa used on her potion bottle. They feel so fun and spooky for Halloween. And then Letitia added these adorable flowers all around her ghost, and these colors just make me smile. So we cannot wait to see all of your potions and all of your cute ghost tags, so make sure to share them with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!